welcome back to the channel. I am here with my guy Nate here. As you can see, he's representing the Huskers today.
Go Big Red.
There it is, Tennessee, go Vols, Vols Nation. Today we are going to be discussing NIL and in particular the actual business side of NIL. And if you don't know what NIL is, that is the name, image, and likeness, and that's where the college players can actually get paid for their name, image, and likeness. So a few years ago, a big lawsuit came down with Ed O'Bannon out at UCLA because his image and likeness was being used in a college basketball game. So I know a lot of you guys play video games, and you've seen these games disappear, but now they're kind of starting to slowly make their way back with college football coming in here. It looks like next year. But let's go ahead and jump into this business side of NIL. So Nate, I know you've been doing some research on this here, and so kind of explain what you found.
So far, just doing a bit of digging. The NIL is a very large space if you're looking to dig into, which is another reason why I think we're slowly seeing people starting to adapt to it. It's because there's so much that's encumbers in the NIL.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I've been able to uncover, just different aspects on how people can utilize the NIL, not just universities but the kids.
Yeah.
Right. So what ways can they utilize their name, image, and likeness in order to get their fair share of what is going to be profited by the universities.
Okay.
So like I said, there's just so many different ways where now, if you think about professional, athletes, the way that they're able to embark on endorsements, right? And we know the story of MJ. He was able to take such a huge contract loss because he had so much money coming in from endorsements that the Bulls were able to bring on more people and things like that, right? Well, it's because his name, image, and likeness, right, is what he was able to capitalize on. So now what's happening is, you've got kids who are true bona fide stars.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at these guys when they're in college, they were bona fide stars. They, anywhere that they go,
Yeah, they're recognized.
They're recognized, and they're asked for autographs and pictures and things like that, right? Well, at the same time, the universities were able to utilize their name, image, and likeness to put on, merchandise and things like that they were getting paid for.
Yeah.
And at the time it was, oh, well, you should just be happy because you're on scholarship, and that's those times are changing.
Yeah. Which, I know a lot of us who are sports fans, what I'm saying, like we recognize years ago that these kids should actually be getting paid.
Right.
Because especially like football generates billions of dollars every single year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
We go through the season, we argue all season long, and then it gets to bowl season, and like we know these kids get, they get the swag at the bowl games,
right?
But I remember kids are like, what was it? A story about like they were getting help with like lunches and being suspended because somebody helped them out with some food, which is totally ridiculous,
right?
So I see NIL as a good thing. Now I know there is the bad side of the NIL business, and that part really isn't focused on.
Right.
It's like, as a business owner myself, if I want to put my business out there to one of these kids who are in the NIL, people on the outside only see, oh, well, this kid is getting paid.
Right.
But as the business owner, I'm looking at what is my return on investment
exactly.
that I put into you.
Yeah.
And now with the transfer portal, that adds a totally different layer on top of just you getting paid money.
Absolutely. And I think, that's something that hasn't really been talked about, at least from what I can tell, right? just looking at, just different people who have, different positions, that they can, utilize podcasts or just overall article, reading articles and stuff. Haven't really seen how people view what happens with the transfer portal in connection with the NIL.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's kind of, something that we'll kind of dive into. Just, we may not have all the answers. Obviously, we're not going to have all the answers. But I think what we can do is have, conversation on how is this supposed to work? Yeah. How is it going to work? Right. Because, again, the NIL just was really just passed, in July, I think it was, of last year. So from and obviously there was time before that where they were still getting things in order, but it's now a real thing.
Yeah. And
I still think that there's a lot of nuts and bolts that still need to be tightened.
Yeah. Definitely. Like I do know with having family that played in college football and is now transitioning into the NFL.
Right.
Like just barely caught part of that NIL.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I didn't even realize is if you go to a school's website and you buy that person's jersey, they don't even get any of that money. The school gets to keep all that money.
100% of that profit.
So these kids are relying on somebody coming in and giving them money.
Right.
And, as business is business, not everybody is going to get paid.
Right.
You're going to have those upper echelon kids. They're going to get money.
Yeah.
And versus your kid who's lower on the totem pole. He may be a walk on. Some schools still have the walk on programs.
Yeah.
That person's not even getting looked at.
Exactly. Exactly. So how does that get distributed?
Yeah. Do they? Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I know you got paid, but as a school, is there a pool? Are they pulling the money together, or are they saying, hey,
right,
you're on your own?
Right. Yeah. So, yep, I agree.
Yeah, I know one of the other things, I know we've talked about this before the camera started rolling, like, as a business, our contract side of it, because, like I said, with that transfer portal, you never know how long a kid is going to stay at a school because he didn't get playing time or they may have gotten hurt.
Right.
Because
coaching changes.
Coaching changes, yes, because coaches are in and out all the time.
Yeah.
They tell you to sit at your table and say, hey, I'm going to be here for the next 4 years. A year later, they're gone. So you're like, I'm gone too.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing. We sit back on Saturdays and we watch the game, but we're watching the game.
Yeah.
The other 6 days, there's a lot of business. Even amongst that Saturday, obviously, a lot of business. But those other 6 days, there's a university that is collectively all about the business side of it.
Yeah.
No, they don't. It's not. They're not on the field. They're not coaching. So the other side of it is all business.
Very true.
So, like you said, with it being a billion dollar industry, just for college football alone,
yeah.
That shows you that there's more business side to it than just fanfare.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot that goes on to maintaining the university, what they have to do in order to bring in kids, keep kids, things of that nature. And I mean, if we're gonna be 100% honest about it, there's always has been, always will be, schools that pay for players.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We know that. I mean, look
at
at one of the biggest stories that we can think about and that we know for sure and that's been in recent is Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Right. But he's not the only one.
He's not the
right.
Only
he's
one.
Definitely not the only one. And there's many of them that we don't know of that are still getting some sort of financial benefit by going to that college.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You always hear about that. Oh, somebody got a handshake with a paper sack,
right.
after the game.
Right. The parents got a new car somehow, or you know, they just moved into a new house, or you know what I mean? Like, it may not be something that's monetarily put into a bank account, but somehow money was paid for them to.
And you know, back then it was a violation. You know, but at the end of the day, by letter of the law, yes, it was a violation. But we understand, like, I'm going to this school. Myself personally, I generate millions of dollars on my own, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna get my next meal from.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, when you come, if you're someone who doesn't come from a family where, you know what I'm saying, you're mid to upper class, you know, you come from the, you know, from the hood or whatever, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. You've been a great athlete, but you always haven't had that financial support behind you.
Right.
You know, a paper sack with some dollars in it.
That's pretty persuasive.
It's appealing.
Yeah.
You know, and
man.
You know, because these boosters, you know, they're throwing in, you know, millions.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You got billionaires that go to these schools and they want to see their school succeed in sports. Absolutely. No matter the sport.
Absolutely. You know, just even, you know, because I know you said, like, you got family that you know, went through college, transitioning to, you know, the NFL. I've had friends that played in you know, D1 college football, where, you know, you see things that are in light of, like, the movie Blue Chips. Yeah. Right. The program.
Yeah.
You know.
Great movie, by the way, The Program. If you haven't seen it,
if you ain't seen that,
please go check out The Program.
And it might be dating us a little bit because it's an older movie, but yeah, definitely check that out.
Go check out The Program. It's a great movie. Blue Chips as well. You know, you can see the basketball side of it.
But, you know, so it kind of shows that, you know, there are links that universities will go to in order to get these kids, but now it's the fact of, it's almost like, if you know it's going to happen, how do you make it to where that doesn't put a stain on the sport, the team, the kids? Like, how do you navigate that? And I think that's where the NIL is trying to bridge that gap. Which, you know, seeing you know, a good buddy of mine go on to college, as being one of the top prospects in the nation. I mean, letters from every big college that you could think of, ends up going to our home school, Nebraska. You know, and the time that these kids put in, the dedication that they have to put in, along with their schoolwork. Yeah. You know, and then they want to maintain a life.
Yeah. So they're working 2 full-time jobs.
2 full-time jobs. And I mean, as a grown person, when you out here and you working full-time, and then you got to get a part-time, you look at it like,
man, I'm doing a lot.
Man, I'm doing a lot. Think about these kids are doing a full-time job of playing football, playing basketball, whatever the sport is, and then they have full-time school on top of that. You know, it's taxing. Yeah. Right. And on top of that, they're still kids. That's what we're not even, you know, bringing into the concept of things. These kids are 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah. And expected to act like they're 25 to 30.
Exactly.
You know, on a daily basis, and don't do wrong. Don't do it. You know.
Exactly. These kids, they're still kids. They're in the early stage of their adulthood, so they're still figuring themselves out, and they want to have fun. Yeah. You know, the college experience also has a level of fun in there that they still want to be able to experience, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, I think the NIL is just, like I said, trying to bridge. It's just kind of a way to bridge that gap where you already know that there's certain things that are going to happen within universities recruiting these athletes. How do we bridge that so that everybody overall collectively are taken care of?
Yeah. And I know, I think one of the hardest things is, because I know, like I said, especially like your big time schools, they're going to get recruits regardless. You know, your Alabamas, your Georgias, your USCs, you know, Ohio States. Yep. Those schools, they're going to get the players regardless. Exactly. You know, it's where your smaller schools where, you know, like, hey, if I can cut $1 million check to a kid to come to my school, we're a little bit smaller. He fits us. He's, you know, but he's also looking at these other schools.
Right.
You know, so that's that's a factor in the recruiting. So now your NIL is a recruiting tool.
Absolutely.
So because of course these coaches know these business owners, and and they're looking to put their money somewhere. It's like I said, that they can get that return based off of X player. And they come in and be like, hey, we can set you up with this deal, and if you come to our school,
absolutely,
we have this money waiting on you,
waiting for you. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what I think will happen again when everything's buttoned down, we've got more of the nuts and bolts screwed in. You'll start seeing more of a level playing field start happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you do, like you said, you do have schools that have a very good booster support.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm gonna speak on Nebraska. Nebraska, back in the '90s, would have never needed an NIL in order to bring in recruits, right? But we know since then, Nebraska has taken quite a fall from grace, right? So now what's looked at, and Nebraska's always had a very, very strong fan base, very large fan base, and a very strong booster support, right? So now what you're looking at is the NIL being able to help universities like Nebraska, who really what may need to come about is them having such strong booster support, being able to create these NIL deals and contracts for these kids to come in and see Nebraska is actually a good spot to go play football in, so that alone, is something, like you said, that can be used on the recruiting trail for coaches to be like, hey, not only are you going to get, top level coaching, you're going to get, player development, you're going to get a chance to be looked at by the NFL, because you're going to be playing at a good school, big conference, things of that nature. But not just that, we can take care of you while you are here financially, not just relying on stipends and things like that.
Because we all know, yes, the scholarship is nice, and we get to go to school for free, but
that's long 4 or 5 years. Just getting by on a scholarship. That's a long time.
Especially with football, where it's like mandatory. You have to play that 3 years.
Absolutely.
Like basketball. It's still one and done.
Absolutely.
Based off that NBA collective. But so if you're good enough to jump ship a year early in basketball, you're gone anyway. You already know that you're on the level. But for the kid who has to stay all 4 years,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And he's not going to go to the league. That's where this head start with the NIL money
absolutely
is a lifesaver coming into play, and you're already on another level, coming out of school. So, like I said, this is about the business, and I know we've talked a little bit mostly about the sports side of it so far, but as a business owner writing these contracts, now, if I'm giving a football player, I'm just going to use $1 million, and I know I got you for 3 years with a 4th year option.
Right.
Now, I'm going to write that contract as friendly for myself as the business owner as possible.
Absolutely.
Now, do I want to get you paid as a student athlete? Yes. But first, I need to make sure that you're going to be at the school. Then you're going to enhance my business and help bring in money.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to write a dead check.
Yeah. For sure.
Because I'm like, yes, we're writing this $1 million contract. No, you are not getting this $1 million today.
Right. And that's the scary part about it, right? Because how do you go about making sure that happens?
Yeah, it's all in the contract. It's and these contracts are going to be written by lawyers, and for the 99.9% of you guys, your parents aren't lawyers.
No, and that's the other side of it, right? Is that these kids now, they need to go hire a lawyer.
Yeah,
they need to hire a CPA. they need to hire a financial advisor.
Yes.
Like, these are things that these kids now have to look at, and parents as well.
Yeah.
They have to look at that, because you are going to be, you're now dabbling into financial contracts.
Yes.
Right?
And you are a business. You as that athlete are the corporation.
Right.
So with corporations, you need a board.
Right.
Who is on your team and on your board?
Exactly.
Because you don't want somebody that's in your corner who, as soon as you sign this deal, they're going out and buying cars and houses, and the check ain't even cashed yet.
Ain't even cashed. Right.
You get hurt. You decide to hit the portal and transfer. Like, if you leave in the portal and we have a contract together, that contract is now null and void. I am making sure that you do not receive any more money. You will get what you are owed, but you won't get anything else.
Well, I mean, let's bring it to like how the NFL does it, right? When you look at someone who gets contract, they get some guaranteed money.
Yeah.
They get money spent over time. What happens when they decide that they want to trade and they're traded to a new team?
Yeah. So on the NFL side, depending on what your contract looks like and how it was structured from the beginning,
right,
that other team wants compensation. Whether that's draft picks, other players in the deal. Yeah. Like, we got to get something back.
Right.
For you.
Exactly.
You're still worth money to us, and we still own your rights.
Exactly.
And truth be told, we don't even have to get rid of you, because we can throw a franchise tag on you.
And now you're here to stay.
Yeah. So you're working disgruntled. Now, if you're working disgruntled, now you have to ask yourself, okay, well, I know I'm stuck here at least another year under this franchise tag.
Right.
Do I mail it in and tank it for them, which now is going to hurt me when I'm trying to go to my next spot?
Just stock
or
trade.
Do I play this out, and guarantee myself more money, or do I sit out, which can then hurt me when I'm trying to either go to a new team or get another contract.
Right. So now how does that look for a college kid?
Oh, I think it's even worse, because the school you're at, they wanted you when they were recruiting you. They want you, and don't think that these coaches don't talk.
Oh, for sure.
You hit the portal. How many kids in the portal get picked up and are playing?
Right.
Because somebody else that was at that school, they know the playbook.
Yeah. They
have a better chance of starting over you, because now you got to cram.
Yeah.
You got to cram that playbook.
Yeah.
In a short amount of time, and like Dion said, don't get lost in the portal thinking that the portal is sweet and somebody's gonna pick you up.
That's
because they may not pick you up.
That's a fact. You're taking a gamble.
Yeah.
You're taking a gamble.
If you've been in the school 2-3 years already, is that a gamble you really want to take?
Right.
Especially if you didn't redshirt that freshman year.
For sure. I think the problem is that the portal's getting used.
Like free agency.
Like it's just, I don't like how things are going here, and for a lack of better wording or phrasing, it's almost used as like just a baby's way to get out of things.
Yeah.
And like I said, for a lack of better wording or phrasing, because the portal really should be utilized for things where there's a true need for a student athlete to make a change and go to a different school for certain reasons, not just because they're upset at something that's happened, right? I think what's happening is these kids aren't getting the coping skill of, I might be going through a hard time right now. There might be some hard things that's going on right now, but how do you stay in that, weather it, and come out a better person, come out a better player?
Yeah.
as soon as there's some adversity or something that just doesn't vibe right with them, they're ready to run to a whole nother, and that, to me, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody came in and took my spot.
Right. And now you want to run from it.
Yeah.
Well,
like, and back in the day before this whole transfer portal, if you decided you wanted to leave a school, you had to sit out a year.
You had to sit out a year.
So that
is that worth it?
Yeah. Do I, because especially football, and we all know one play can change an entire season for you.
Done.
Yeah. You blow your knee out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your Achilles is torn.
Yeah.
Like any small little injury will then have somebody else who was on the bench elevate.
Right.
And like I said, being here in Nebraska, and just seeing what's going on, like when Martinez got hurt, next man up.
Yep, that's how it goes.
But the kid that was above him, who he got jumped, he decided to leave.
Right.
Well, bro, you were the next man up, and you decided to transfer schools.
Right.
Because you were no longer starting.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a huge thing. Like, don't jump ship just because things aren't going your way. Because you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
And just because some school says, "Oh man, you know what? We really like your talent. We could use you here." That doesn't mean you're gonna start.
It doesn't. It could be again. You're gonna be right behind somebody else. You're always gonna have competition.
Yeah. And
that should be something that people champion, the competition, not run from it.
Yeah.
Because it makes you a better person, better player throughout that journey.
Yeah.
So, the other side of that is, if you're contracted to an NIL deal and then you decide to leave, what should be in place? I know you had talked about, where you would hold the contract money in like an escrow.
Yeah.
Where that's paid out over time instead of just a full lump sum.
Yeah.
Because when you look at some of these NIL deals, they're a couple $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
that's not
small.
chump change.
Yeah. And to a college kid who doesn't have money.
Oh man.
Regardless of if you play a sport or not,
Yeah.
like you're like, okay, my life has now been changed by this money.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of it, I'm gonna have no student loan debt.
Right.
How do I navigate this money? And as a business person who has the money, you didn't get the money overnight like these kids are. You worked your way into getting this money in the status that you are currently at.
Right.
So that's one of those things you have to keep in mind, because there are all sorts of temptations that come into play when you're an athlete, male or female.
Yep.
You have people, hanger-oners.
Yep.
You got the boyfriend or the girlfriend who is only with you because of sport.
Yep. That's what your potential is.
And they're potentially looking for a payday themselves.
Yep.
So that's another thing, what I'm saying, that has to be navigated. And like I said, that's why I said this money will be held out in escrow, paid out over time, because I have to treat you like an employee. Yeah. Because if you leave, you just quit.
Yeah. And I've allocated this money towards you.
Yeah.
But then let's what about looking at it like this? As business owners, we have a marketing budget.
Yep.
That we have to look at, right? And so what we look at is how fast can we turn a dollar?
Yes, exactly.
Right? So $1 go out, what does that create in order for us to gain a potential lead that we can turn, and then in turn bring that dollar back in to put that dollar right back out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and like I said, the $1 outlay just can't bring in $1.
It's got to bring in more for that profit.
I need this dollar to come out and be $2 or $5 or $10.
Exactly.
So what is, as the athlete, what are you bringing me back?
Right. And if you if I give you $1 million up front and you blow your knee, what I'm looking at now is you are no longer a marketable asset to me.
Yeah, because the people can't.
The people can't see you
don't
anymore.
see you on the field anymore.
Or they don't see you on the court. They
Yeah.
don't see you on the diamond. They don't see you anymore.
Yeah,
So now I've allocated $1 million to you. Now that money, I don't get to see that return.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So I tend to agree that I think there should not be a lump amount that gets put up. I agree with you. I think it should be in like an escrow where it's paid out over time. And if you really, want to look at it and put in performance clauses.
Yeah,
You have to play a certain amount of games, right? Though what's happening is that there's no longer an amateur side to this.
no, and truth be told, there never really was.
No, I mean
these guys, they just weren't getting legally paid.
right.
So they were never student athletes. They were always athlete students.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly.
And that's how we see them, because we see, oh my God, you know what? It is now the end of August. It's football season.
Right.
Bam, we've now hit October, November, college basketball starting
Right.
up. Now we got March Madness hitting. College baseball is getting ready to start.
Right.
And that's how we as the everyday person see it. We don't see these guys and girls going to class every day, having to maintain that GPA.
Right.
Just to even stay on the team.
Right. Right.
Dealing with a professor who may not like that they play sports.
Right.
That's the stuff that we don't see. All we see is, let us cheer for you for these few hours.
Yep.
On the weekend.
Yep.
Or during the week if it's basketball or baseball.
Yep.
Make us happy.
Yeah.
Go bring us home a title.
Right. Yep.
So we can go riot in the streets,
Right.
have a parade or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's all we see.
Yep.
We don't see that struggle. You know what I'm saying? We don't see, oh, these kids gotta go back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the kid who, they made it through the season. They got their first full NIL check.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going home to a situation where the people in their neighborhood
No.
ain't got the money.
Yep.
And
know they got that.
and know that this person has the money.
Yeah.
How do it's dealing with the homies that wanna come along, and I just want to spend your money.
Yeah.
I don't want to help you figure out how to make more money.
Right. That's another portion of the onion that needs to be peeled back. Now you gotta bring in, and I do feel like there's a portion that is a responsibility of the kids, and the parents, to make sure that they bring in the right people to help facilitate these deals and oversee these deals and things like that. But I also feel like it's also the universities.
Yes.
The universities that have people in place, some sort of structure in place that helps these kids navigate what's now being brought to the table for them. Because you come in, you're one of the top athletes, you're already getting all this attention, and no matter what anybody says, your high school attention getting into college is gonna be tenfold.
Yeah.
Right? So on top of that, then all of a sudden you're thrown onto a national stage, and then that national stage, you're performing on that national stage. Now you got a whole nother level of attention that's not just localized in your college, in your college town.
Yeah.
Now this is nationwide, right?
Yeah. And you got people looking and critiquing your
every move. Everything, right? So then you add on top of that a big, huge, healthy bank account.
Yeah.
Right? What kind of trouble do you think a 19, 20-year-old kid could get in trouble with with $300,000-$400,000 in the bank, and they have this platform that is almost bigger than life. They're everywhere. They're on TV all the time. They're on sports pages. They're on.
Yeah.
What kind of trouble do you think a 20-year-old kid's gonna get into?
Oh, a lot.
A lot.
A lot. Like, yeah, like I say, you got to have that structure in place to make sure that, hey, you guys aren't just out here blowing your money real fast.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that, you have something to take, after you leave here.
Exactly.
Especially if you're not going to that next level.
Exactly. You can, hopefully what happens is that, you get this kind of money, you understand how life-changing this could be, because now you have a nest egg.
Yeah.
That most kids won't get coming out of college.
Yeah.
Right? You are going to have an opportunity to be graduating with whatever degree you graduate in, and also have some money behind you to move forward in life and do whatever it is that you want after that. And like you said, though, during that time, don't blow it.
Yeah, don't blow it.
Don't blow it. Because how many pro athletes came into money, and again, we're gonna be talking Fuji apples to green apples.
Yeah,
but they're apples still.
Yeah,
because you still have kids who are going to be making a substantial amount of money. They may not be making the 30, 40, $100 million contracts, right? But they're coming into money that looks like that for a place that they've came from. They've never had any money.
Yeah.
They're going to be coming into what $500,000 looks like $2 million to them, $3 million to them.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to play the game out here as if it is $1 million, $2 million.
Yeah. And like I said, we are, we're comparing a different type of apple to another type of apple, but on a percentage basis, it's the exact same.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing where an athlete is done and their pro career is done, because we hear it all the time. This person made, $100 million over X amount of years playing this sport.
Right.
And just a few years later, they're broke. And they're, and it's like,
because they can't pay for that lifestyle anymore.
Yeah. And we as regular people, we like, man, how does that even happen? Like, they shouldn't even have no bills. They should, but
right.
They have the bills, and their bills get escalated based off the money.
Right.
Yeah,
their mortgage is $10,000, $15,000 mortgages that they can't afford anymore. Not $1,500, $2,000 mortgages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the struggle is real at that point, and like I say, for that college athlete who, if you got hurt and now you can't go and play at the next level, but you got this NIL money, like, was there somebody supporting you and teaching you how to actually spend your money and spend it wisely, and making sure you don't go out and buy the Porsche,
right?
Buy the Corvette,
right? And is that I feel like there's a responsibility of the university that has to fall on as well, or maybe it's a course of financial literacy. Where you, instead of just relying on that couple $100,000, how do you allow that couple $100,000 to work for you?
Yeah.
That way you can live as minimal. You take someone like Marshawn Lynch, who lived off of just his endorsements, right? And then his contract was what he's able to deal with.
Yeah.
After the fact of him deciding to retire. I mean, there's other examples of that, but where you're able to live minimal, and then figure out where you want to put that money, so that if the NFL doesn't come calling, which it's a very good possibility, most of these kids who still get good NIL deals will not get drafted, or it's a difference between first, second round draft money and sixth round draft money.
Yeah, and I mean, what is there? 255, 256. people that get drafted every year, and you are like when you get drafted, you got to understand that next year there's another draft coming.
Yeah.
And your spot is being drafted to be replaced.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Unless you're that superstar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you are being replaced every single year. There's somebody
Absolutely.
that's coming up
and
who wants your spot.
Yeah, and be realistic. You got kids, you got 85 to a 100-man roster, playing football. You got an 85 to 100-man roster, and you have how many picks in the NFL to right?
Yeah.
So I mean, just numbers statistically, what is your chance of actually going to the NFL? So what does that mean? That means that you have a better chance of getting some good NIL money than having, some sort of financial literacy on what to do with that money that you get while you're in college.
Yeah. So it's like while you're in school, get that business degree.
Yes.
You got to think about, in every city, how many people live in my town?
Mm-hmm.
How many kids are playing X sport? Okay. How many kids are playing? Then you got to like in high school. Okay, well, all of these high school kids ain't playing college sports.
Right.
That's
true.
And then you get like, okay, so now the number keeps getting smaller and smaller the further we go along.
Yep.
Elementary, junior high, high school, college, now the pros.
Yeah.
And it's even worse in basketball.
Yeah.
You got 32 teams in the NBA 30 teams, and then they draft. That's 60 people a year.
Yeah.
That make it to the league.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very small amount.
60 people. And as we all know, all these people ain't starters.
Right.
Right. Some of these cats is on the bench.
Right.
Some of them in the G League.
Yeah.
Some of them got to go overseas and play. I mean, and it's not like back in the day where, I'm saying, okay, the NBA is drafting American players. Now, you got to worry about your international players coming in.
Because they're coming in strong.
Yeah. So now your number of college players gets even smaller that gets drafted.
Because you're not just competing against U.S. talent. You're competing against world talent now.
World talent. And a lot of these places, they're like, well, we'll draft the guy from overseas because his club is still paying him.
Right.
And we get to sit and wait.
Yep. Yeah.
And do something else with this money before they even come over here.
Right.
So
then what happens with, us as business owners? We give you $1 million. You go to the league early. Now what happens?
Yeah.
Because now my money's still sitting with a NIL deal that's no longer valid because now you're in the NBA,
and that's where that whole business, like, look, I can pay you, but I know, especially that top talent, you as a business owner, I'm looking at, okay, I can have this top guy for a year, or I can get somebody who's still on the team, they're still starting, and just right under you, and I can stretch my dollar.
Yep.
Because they're going to be in school 3 years.
Right.
They're going to be in school 4 years, and then they may go off and do something else, or they may, become good enough to go pro. It just took them a little longer.
Right.
But I know I can stretch my investment out that much longer.
So, what do you think when it comes to? Because I mean, I've heard of some of these guys that have larger NIL deals. But there's going to be a lot of people who don't get that $100,000 deal.
Yeah.
Right? They might get a $30,000 deal. Right? They might get a $50,000 deal. Right? Where, you might have, well, I'm looking at okay, so you got your top recruits. You got some of the guys that are going to come in with, partial scholarships.
Yeah.
Right? You got walk-ons, right? Those NIL deals obviously are going to look completely different.
Yeah, completely
right?
different.
And just wondering, what do you think? How does that look for someone at the lower tier of the NIL deals, right?
Yeah.
$30,000. That's a completely different mindset of, I'm going to pay this guy $1 million compared to, well, I could cut that cost and only pay this guy
Yeah.
$30,000, right? So on a business side, we have a huge thing to look at, because we have to look at how we're going to allocate that money. Are we going to put $1 million on somebody who has like you said, that has the potential of leaving early?
Yeah.
Or the 30,000 on the guy that I know isn't probably gonna just up and leave? Which one makes sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. Before I answer that though, if you like this content, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button so that way we get pushed out for everybody to see, and click the bell notification as well so that way you get notified every time that we drop a video here at Nexyz Capital. Now, back to that, where am I going to put my dollars? I think it depends, because you're going to go back and kind of study that player. You're going to look at, okay, what is the character of this person that I'm putting my money behind?
Yeah.
And so, so you're going to be, okay, I'm going to go and talk to the coach now. Mm-hmm. Hey, coach, you've been recruiting this guy.
Yeah.
What does his coach say about him?
Right. Right.
Have you talked to his I'm not even worried about what his family and friends say. They're going to say
the best things,
delightful things about this person.
Yeah.
Did you talk to his teachers?
Right. Yeah.
I need to know, this person's actual character before I throw my money behind them.
Right.
It's easy to be the big man on campus, at your school and in your city. But now you're coming here where there's a whole team of guys who were the big man on campus as well.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I'm saying, like, it's one thing, says this person has a catchy name and it fits my business name and my business model. Yeah, I might throw some money behind them, but you got a regular name and you're good at a sport.
Right.
I need to know you first.
Yeah.
Before I decide to put my money into escrow and have it held up.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
I can take that money and use it somewhere else.
True.
True. And make a return somewhere else in something that I've already know has been working.
Yeah.
In the business and that's been returning money on a regular basis, where this NIL thing for me is a wild card.
It is.
I don't really know if I put my money behind it, is it going to work?
Yeah.
And we got to sign these contracts, which means that I'm almost guaranteeing you this money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I need to be like, man, I'm nervous, so I need to know all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
Of you on a personal level.
And how do you test that, right? Because as a business, you can test your marketing.
Yeah.
Right. How do you test that with an NIL kit? How do you test that? How do you test market that?
I mean, it's pretty much impossible. And
yeah.
as a freshman coming in, like I may be like, oh man, this kid seems like a superstar. They've been rated, 4 or 5 stars by these, these different companies who rate these kids. Or do I go with a proven athlete who's already in school? They're doing the things. I may only have a year or two to put behind them, but I know they've been proven, and I can,
Well, then you're also you're fighting amongst other businesses that want to put their money behind them.
Yeah.
He might have a deal from X company for this amount of money,
and I can't put it.
And I can't match that. So yeah, that's it, man. This is just a crazy time for college athletics, man. Because now you got to look at the kids, because the kids are going to be. It's going to be a bidding war for these kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have one company that can offer. I mean, they're going to end up getting sponsorships from Adidas and how can I put up any kind of money that Adidas can put up?
Yeah. Like, hey, you want to represent my small company? young man, young woman, like, and I'm over here looking at Nike and Adidas, Under Armour, like,
Yeah, I mean that's how Bronny is getting so much money before he hasn't even gotten into the NBA, but he's gotten so much money on all of these deals.
Yeah.
Right? Like it'll even be the fact of that now they're not even just in they're no longer they won't even have to be in a box. I mean Bronny is gonna be one of those kids that internationally is gonna be a marketing piece.
Yeah, definitely. Outside of just the basketball.
Outside of just the basketball,
Yeah.
it's like, there's going to be so much money outside of just an NIL that's thrown at these kids that they can now accept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like outside of just the collective and outside of just local businesses, like there are going to be big corporations that want to throw their money behind them. I mean, look at like Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah. If he could have been on that NIL,
right. He was a kid that had
LSU.
At LSU, a major college, won the Heisman, won the championship, had a charisma about him. Bro, he's perfect for.
Yeah, his NIL prospects were millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Like just on that alone.
Exactly.
So it's a fun time, but it's a crazy time, and I am excited for all these kids to be getting paid.
As they should have been, and glad they are.
And like I said, the main thing is we hope that these universities are putting in that time and effort so that way they don't blow the money and they're not making those bad decisions with all this money that's coming in that kids before them never had.
Right.
At least not legally have ever had.
Right.
So, and I know there's a lot of companies that are, coming together to create these, NIL conglomerates and, but not if you're not on the inside with these businesses, you don't know how they're run.
Right.
Exactly. And you don't know what they're doing.
And at the end of the day, where do you think the business interest is going to lie? It's going to lie with them. Yeah. It's not going to lie with the kids.
No. It's always going to be, I need you to make me.
It's what's best for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And the kid is looking at it like, hey, I'm out here and I'm making this money for you.
Right.
I'm playing.
I'm taking all the risk.
I'm the risk taker.
Good portion of risk.
Yeah. I could get hurt at any given time.
Right.
Especially in a contact sport.
Right.
Other sports, like golf, it's not really a contact sport, but it's great money in golf.
Absolutely.
So if you're a golfer, or if you have kids that love golf,
and we need to get on the course.
definitely got to get out there and swing the clubs around.
Yeah.
But I mean it's a fun time.
Yeah, it is.
Like I say, because there are thousands of different companies looking to put their money behind these kids, and I know we came at it from football and basketball, but there's baseball, hockey, golf.
I mean, it's all collegiate athletics are subject to NIL.
Yeah.
But and we focus on that. That's just what's closer to what we watch,
that's our wheelhouse.
That's our wheelhouse.
I'm not too familiar with the golf teams at these schools or the bowling teams, but
not to mention though, these are the sports that are going to have more of an impact when you look at NIL because they are the money makers for the universities. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
so it makes sense for us to approach it with these typical sports in the topic because they're going to be the ones that makes the most money. Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, I've heard the stories, where these golf, coming out of high school, going into college, the golfers are getting paid. Mm-hmm. And if you are a company and you deal in golf, go find these players.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, could you imagine like a Tiger Woods that decided to go to one of these colleges, just knowing that he could go pro,
Yeah.
And boom. I mean, again, that's the thing about it is that golf you don't even tennis,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to go through college
Yeah.
to get to a pro status.
Yeah.
Right? Where football, basketball, baseball, you have to go through college
And
most, in order to get
and I think like with baseball, especially baseball in particular, where if you're in high school and you're good enough to go pro and you decide to go college, once you go, you're there for 4 years.
Yeah.
A team may draft you and they have their rights, but if you decide to go to school,
yep, that's where you are.
You're at that school.
Yep.
And I mean, from a business standpoint, if I know a top player is coming to my school,
it's safer.
It's a safer bet to put my money behind them.
Yeah.
On an NIL deal.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And we're spoiled because here in Omaha we get the College World Series.
Yeah.
Right. So think about what a business here. I don't have to put my money towards a hometown Creighton or Nebraska kid. Yeah. I could a kid from North Carolina, right? And I know that they're going to be coming to Omaha at some point, right? So I get to see my money at work, and I know that kid's going to be potentially coming to Omaha for years.
Yeah. And it's even bigger if a Creighton or Nebraska actually make it to the College World Series. The explosion that would happen, and that does happen at that time. Is crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you guys are into baseball and you haven't had a chance to come here for the College World Series, 2 of the best weeks of your life during the summertime.
Absolutely.
Please make it out to us.
Absolutely.
And come check us out. We would love to have you here.
Yep.
But yeah, man. So kind of wrapping this thing up here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think we both see the NIL as a good thing, but it only works if the schools have teams in place to foster the relationships with the business and the students to help them manage their money in a positive way.
Right. Yeah.
And like I said, because I know myself personally, if I would have had that kind of money coming out of high school into college, and without the structure of saying, "Hey, this is how you need to deal with your money," I probably would have been looking like I need a Ferrari.
Would have been in trouble.
I got to show out. And I'm not even showing out for the kids on campus.
Right.
I'm showing out for my neighborhood and for the people in my neighborhood who don't have it.
Right. I've been in a Ferrari with trouble on the passenger side. Yeah,
and it would have been no good. I would have lost my scholarship. I would have lost my deal money just because of the mentality that would have came with that.
Absolutely.
And so, so if you are a business owner and you are putting your money behind these kids, I would challenge you guys as well to have things in place to help these kids with their financial situation as well, and just not let them blow their money. I mean, I know the schools may have that, but you have that as well because since you are putting your money out there, it's also your responsibility as well.
Absolutely. Take an interest not just in what that kid could bring in business wise. Take an actual interest in the kid, man. I think it's each one teach one.
Yeah, exactly.
And at that point, you've gotten in a position where, you've made some money, you understand money, you know what to do with the money. Now when you're ready to give it out to a kid who does not have that same understanding, maybe take him under the wing and, give him ideas on how he can help, with that money and what he can actually do with the money outside of spending it on himself or, blowing it frivolously. And
exactly.
Yeah, because a lot of these kids, they're like you said, they're going to be businesses themselves.
Yeah.
And then some of them may want to become entrepreneurs. Well, that person that put up that NIL money might be the perfect example and the perfect mentor.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, man, that's a very good point. Very good point. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for today. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and until next time, see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.